Without patience, magic would be undiscovered. In rushing everything, we would never hear its whisper inside. I am Jan, welcome to my channel, and here we are doing our best. Today we're here to recap Sandry's book, Book 1 in the Circle of Magic Quartet, written by Tamara Pierce and first published in 1997. In this world, there are two things to know going in: traders and mages. Traders are a nomadic people, whether traveling by caravan or by ship, white and blue traders respectively. They are exactly as described. They trade and bargain. They are usually black and they have their own language, trader talk. Traders do not do, they trade. This means craftsmanship is generally looked down upon. There is also a prejudice against traders in most places. Mages come in two flavors: academic mages and ambient mages. Academic mages learn their craft through their books and writing symbols. They're the type who you go to for love potions and such. Ambient mages, on the other hand, work their magic through a craft of some kind, like blacksmithing or gardening or the weather. I know weather isn't a craft, but bear with me. Ambient mages are also rarer than academic mages, like 1 in 4. More like 1 in 10. We follow 4 young children as they come together and learn that they possess unusual magics. Thread magic for Sandry, plant magic for Briar, smith magic like forging and metalcraft for Deja, and weather magic for Triss. Before I begin the story, I'd just like to mention the cover of the book and how I wish the Circle verse got the same treatment as Alana the Lioness. Like, I know one is more popular than the other, but they're equal in my eyes. The UK covers, on the other hand, are very interesting, and their titles are more properly titles in my opinions. The magic and the weaving really conveys the obvious and is a subtle nod to Sandry's true ability. The power in the storm reminds readers that Triss is their powerhouse. The fire in the forging is a reference to a few things in the book, and the healing in the vine seems pretty on the nose, but still fits the book. Anywho, let's get on with the show. We begin our story with Sandrine Fa Torren, an 11-year-old noble girl, being locked away in a secret room guarded by magic by her nursemaid, Parisi. I've always envisioned a young Jenna Ortega as Sandry. The storeroom is for her protection, as a plague is killing many and causing chaos in the country of Hattar. A mob had killed Parisi for being a traitor, right outside the hidden door. The prejudice really shows itself against traitors. Sandry is running out of light as her last candle melts. She is so desperate she tries her luck at trying to catch light and thread the same way traitor wizards, Mimanders, do with wind. But there's no reason for it to work, as she's never shown an aptitude for magic before. Yet when she tries, after some time, she is able to braid some light into the threads. In the southeastern pebbled sea, Deja Kusubo, a black trader girl, awakens aboard a piece of debris, the only survivor of third ship Kusubu, her whole family perishing in a deadly storm. Deja isn't out of danger yet, but she spots something that can save her life: a suraku, a leather and metal box full of emergency supplies. She is able to reach out with her mind and draw the box closer somehow. Now she just has to survive until someone comes to rescue her. The suraku lasts for 3 days before Deja even gets a hint that people might be nearby. At first she just hears sails in the wind, but then she smells the tang of metal. A ship does draw near, and an older man in his early 50s guides her aboard. He introduces himself as Niclaren Nico Goldeye, saying he's been looking for her.
What's that supposed to mean?
In Hajra, port city of Sotat, a boy called Roach is awaiting his trial in a cell, thinking about how he wound up in this predicament. He's always looked like young Karen Barr in my mind. This kid is homeless and was basically raised by the thief lord. So that's what he is, a thief, part of a gang of thieves. His mother died when he was young. He's curled up on a bed of moss that he had become familiar with after his previous stints in prison, but this is his final offense, marked by an X on each hand. Third strikes the charm. When he's brought before the magistrate, a man intervenes, offering him a choice: his sentence of working at the docks or apprenticeship at Winding Circle Temple in Emelon. He chooses Winding Circle and goes with the man, Master Niclaren Goldeye.
Coincidence? I think not!
He tells Roach that he can choose a new name, and he chooses to name himself Briar Moss, after 2 memorable plants in his life. He once got scarred from the thorns of a particularly aggressive briar patch. In the city of Ninver, Capchen, Tritana Chandler hears voices, nothing new, But these voices are the mean girls of the dormitory she's staying in. They talk about how her family didn't want her and how her dresses are unflattering. She gets upset, and then the wind picks up as the girls continue talking. Then it really gets going and causes chaos in the room, and when a dedicate walks in, they find the place a mess except for Triss's bed, which is untouched.
Coincidence? I think not!
The next day, she is kicked out of Stone Circle Temple, the dedicate superior pleading with the master Nico to take her to Winding Circle, as he has more experience with cases like hers. She doesn't think Triss has magic, but she feels something is wrong with her, whether possession or an elemental, she isn't sure. Nico originally denies the dedicate superior, but is convinced after Triss gets upset hearing these comments and a hailstorm begins outside. She tells him he will regret inviting her along. Everyone does. Sandry spent 2 weeks in that storeroom before she is found, with Nico in that group that rescues her. The secret room was so dim with scarce light that she screamed when she saw daylight for the first time in a while. They travel to Emelon, where Nico and Sandry recount the details to her great uncle, Duke Vedris IV. He's happy she is okay, but there's an issue. The Duke has no ladies in his castle that can take Sandry under their wing. Nico offers a solution of sending her to Winding Circle, as many nobles send their children there already, as it's the center for learning and magic. Sandry agrees to go. With Deja, she was brought before her people and deemed Trangshi, bad luck, and given an unadorned staff, because in their culture, everybody over a certain age carries a staff with them that's adorned with all sorts of symbols that represent their life. And kicked out of the traders. She is forbidden to speak, touch, or write to traders. Nico, who happens to be in the right place at the right time, offers her a place at Winding Circle, upset at the verdict. When Briar was traveling with Nico, he had a hard time adjusting to the idea of bathing on a regular basis. Nico is able to sweet talk him into behaving when he mentions Winding Circle has some of the best gardens and gardeners north of the Pebbled Sea. When Triss traveled with Nico, they sailed to Emelon, and aboard the boat, Triss spots trader-made cords of rope that held wind in them. Nico mentions he studied at Lightsbridge, where Triss says her cousin Amory Chandler is also studying. She also has an encounter with St. Elmo's fire, a strange form of lightning that can appear. So all these kids have been orphaned in some way or another, abandoned by the world, and all this transpired over a few months. Nico wasn't in all these places at the same time, obviously. At Winding Circle Temple in Summersea, Sandry is sitting down for a meal one day when in walks Deja, who no one wants to sit with. So Sandry offers a seat next to her because she's always trying to make friends. A snobby noble girl says, "If she's a lady, I'm a cat." And Sandry responds in the most perfect way. Reaching out, Sandry lifted the pitcher of milk from the table, cradling it in both hands. She walked over to the mutterer. "I am Sandraline Fa Torren, daughter of Count Martin Fairteran and his countess Emilienne Fa Landreg. I am the great niece of his grace, Duke Vedris of this realm of Emelon, and cousin of her Imperial Highness Empress Berenini of the Namorn Empire. You are Esmel A. Pragine, daughter of Baron Witten and Pragine, and his lady Coledia of House Wheelwright, a merchant house. If I tell you my friend is a lady, then you," carefully she poured milk into Esmel's plate, "you had best start lapping Kitty." She sets the pitcher down and returned to her chair. Like, I could just scream. Like, that is a perfect response, and Sandry has a lot of great lines.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
Another time, Triss is arguing with the dedicate, who wants her to be more agreeable with the other girls, when she starts feeling ill. She makes to go outside just as an earthquake strikes, startling everyone at Winding Circle.
Interesting.
Deja goes out walking one evening, leaving her new blank staff in her dorm because she's kind of embarrassed about it, when she is attacked by other kids. A bright light blinds them momentarily, and standing there is Nico and dedicates Superior Moonstream. Moonstream, a dark-skinned woman, is shocked at the lack of open-mindedness when it came to traders at Winding Circle. She says Deja should move into Discipline Cottage, somewhere safer and more personal to stay near the Earth Temple. Deja swears to never leave without her staff again. With Briar in the boys' dormitory, they try to frame him for stealing something of theirs. He didn't, but is caught in possession of knives, so he got in trouble anyway. He doesn't get in trouble for stealing, but they do kick him out and send him to Discipline Cottage. Triss is sitting in the administration building when she runs into Nico again. He's there to speak with the dedicated about Triss, who she feels isn't making friends. Sandry is brought in and sat next to her. She tries being friendly, but Triss isn't buying it. Nobles don't talk to the lower class.
Sure about that? You sure about that?
Sandry is there because she kept sneaking off to the loom houses, where they do weaving, and proper ladies like her only get to do embroidery, if anything at all. They're both sent to Discipline Cottage, and Nico escorts them there. It's here, early summer, where for the first time, all four children come together. They argue about rooms for a second, everyone's having reasons not to like the other, except for Sandry, who just wants everyone to be friends. This found family is off to a great start. They meet Dedicate Rosethorn and Lark, who are in charge of discipline. I can't help but picture Lisa and Walter and Cheryl Lee Ralphs, respectively, for these roles. They just fit so perfectly. They both assign the kids chores, feed them well, and overall treat them very nice. A nice reprieve for once in their little lives. Lark is a thread mage, and Rosethorn is a plant mage. They're also in an open relationship and officially mom.
She is the mother I never had.
The kids have strange phenomena continue to happen as they learn the rules of Discipline Cottage and get into a routine of chores and lessons. They all have meals together every day. Rosethorn teaches Briar to appreciate good food by introducing him to cinnamon in his porridge. Briar sees the sickly miniature tree and Dedicate Crane's glass greenhouse. Deja has kept her suraku. She keeps it in her room. Sandry tries giving a tapestry she made to Triss, but the other girl didn't believe she made it. Nobles don't make, especially ladies. Plus, it's too nice. Triss thinks she's lying about having made it herself.
Sure about that? You sure about that?
Sandry is taught spinning by Lark, like spinning thread. Deja finds a smithy and a blacksmith named Frostpine, a dark-skinned, bald, and bearded man, and his novice, Kirill, a northern white boy. Frostpine agrees to teach her to forge, and Triss learns meditation from Nico. Meditation involves channeling yourself into things, like Triss envisions herself as a rope of wind. This is when Nico tells her why he chose his name Goldeye. He can see things that are hidden. That's how he found Triss and the others. He saw the magic in them, among other things that led him to their location. Eventually, all four mages begin learning meditation, first with Nico and then with Rosethorn and Lark. Rosethorn and Lark lay down a circle of herbs and thread to surround the house while they meditate. This keeps the magic contained. Briar pictures himself as a plant, Sandry imagines a drop spindle, and Deja imagines herself as the head of a hammer striking metal. Nico tells them the reason they practice meditation is because their magic leaks out, so doing this helps them keep their magic under control. They still don't know they have magic, but they're starting to suspect. He also tells them about Winding Circle, how it sits in a crater formed by a meteorite strike. Also, how an initiate is a dedicate who has been initiated into the ways of temple magic, like Frostpine, Rosethorn, and Lark. Triss tells him about how she hears things on the wind, and Nico assures her they're not the voices of madness, and to always tell him what she hears. The four kids have a nice bonding moment later when they all hang out together on the roof, completely unplanned, watching storms be born. They're watching the clouds come in off the sea and grow heavy with moisture.
Thank you, Catherine Obvious.
Sandry learns how to magically call to thread from Lark and Deja learns a similar technique from Frostpine but with gold wire. Briar tries stealing the tiny tree he saw in the greenhouse, not knowing the dedicates were renewing the spells against quakes and setting off magical alarms as he snuck through.
You're busted.
He hides out in the cottage. Everyone had woken up because of the commotion of him being chased. Sandry tries closing the gate and forbidding entrance, which doesn't work because rank means nothing at Winding Circle. Rosethorn and Lark are able to talk Crane down and invite him in to discuss things further. They agree to allow Briar to keep the tiny tree, a shakan, in exchange for some of Rosethorn's tomatoes. This is around the 1800s in terms of technology and exploration, so tomatoes are new and only Rosethorn has been successful at getting them to grow and taste good. She is mother.
She is the mother I never had.
Briar learns his tree is over 300 years old, and he must now take care of it himself. Rosethorn becomes his mentor to show him how. A lot of the kids tend to pick up big tasks that seem impossible, but the adults help them get through it very often. More strange occurrences happen to the four. Briar gets his shakan so excited it puts out new growth that he has to trim. Sandry tries doing what she did in the hidden room but can't. Deja catches molten hot iron with her bare hands and scares Kirill.
Curiouser and curiouser.
The next day, Rosethorn, Lark, and the kids go into Summersea to sell some stuff at the market. There, the kids get into a fight with some noble kids who were torturing a puppy in an alley. Sandry started it before the others joined in except for Triss. Triss tried summoning water from the nearby harbor to douse the boys, but when someone accidentally spins her around, she creates a water spout that makes its way up the alley. Lark comes to the rescue. She has blue thread wound on a spindle and drops it, unraveling the thread and the water spout at the same time. They try to leave before they get in trouble, but are stopped by a crowd demanding justice. Duke Vedris shows up and Sandry tells him what happened. He doesn't show favoritism, acknowledging that the kids are mages who are still learning to control their magic. He offers to pay for any of the noble boys' medical bills if they visit a truthsayer first to see if they really had hurt the puppy. Animal, abu- Animal abuse is a very serious offense in Emelon. This is when the kids learn that not only do they have magic, they were placed in Discipline Cottage because they were powerful mageborn. Lark and Rosethorn are well-known mages as well, very powerful. Even Frostpine. With that eventful day, they head back to Winding Circle with a new puppy. The kids call it Little Bear. Another tremor shakes them as they are traveling, but Triss gives a warning this time. The next day, Deja wants to know why Frostpine didn't tell her she had magic. He tells her, magic for them is only as strong as the metal they're working. Magic is only as strong as the thing it passes through. With that, he gives Deja her lesson for the day. The kids also get a lecture about magic from Rosethorn and Lark. Like yesterday, he said carefully, picking his words, we see times when a mage doesn't know or doesn't have time to think up the right spell. When that happens, open your mind. Think of the objects and processes that you're comfortable with. That might be a spindle, waves, blows on an anvil, the growth of trees. Lark undid a water spout. She had no spell for it, but she let her magic speak through her, and it worked. Triss shivered. It's that simple? Magic's that simple? His thick black eyebrows snapped together in a frown. Magic is never simple, Tristana. Working it this way has its dangers. It's crude and sloppy. It burns up power faster than the magic that you take time with and use with control. The next few weeks pass by in a blur of repetition as summer begins. After that, their lives took on a pattern. Meditation, taught by Nico, came after morning chores. Sometimes they worked in the cottage, but he also took them onto the wall around Winding Circle, to the cave in the cliff, even to the garrets of the loom houses where the beat of working looms drummed through the timbers. Individual lessons filled the afternoons. In the evenings, the four read, studied, or worked at spinning. Lark was always present for that. At least one of the other teachers would come to spin their own projects. Frostpine spun wire from silver, gold, or copper threads, or tell stories, or teach something new. Those lessons weren't always magical. As the willow moon waned, Lark taught them all, even Triss, how to do handstands. In the month of Hawthorn moon, Rosethorn showed them how to make a lotion to prevent sunburn. By then, the children needed it. The day before midsummer, Triss tries something reckless, trying to trap the energy of the tide coming in into a boulder as she sits atop it and meditates alone by herself with no guidance from her teachers.
Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind?
Nico finds her just in time. She is exhausted, barely able to walk, and the boulder was reduced to pebbles from all the magic that was stored in it. She finally learns mages should not mess with the forces of nature. It's very dangerous. As everyone celebrates midsummer the next day, Triss is stuck at home, resting and recuperating. She senses another tremor just in time to catch Briar Shakan tree as it falls off its shelf. When the boy and Rolstorn get there, they help Triss back to her bed. The next day after midsummer, while meditating, Nico is called away by Moonstream on urgent business. He's gone most of the day, and when he returns he speaks with Rosethorn and Lark, then gives Triss some books on weather to study. Something weird is going on at the hub, the center of the Winding Circle. The hub is where most magic is practiced and where much official business takes place, like seeing the future. I don't know yet, he replied. That's the problem. There's a tremendous amount of activity in the seeing and hearing places of the hub. Omens and portents are being reported from everywhere around the Pebbled Sea. We must sort through all that is being foretold and try to put together the alternatives we are being shown. Over the next 2 weeks, Nico is busy with official business trying to decipher the future. The children notice one day when a cloud of messenger birds are sent out en masse. Something serious is happening. Finally, Nico sits down and tells the kids what's going on. An earthquake is going to hit Ragat and Pajun Islands, but he's still worried, and Sandry asks why not simply use magic to stop the earthquake. Trist is the first to say why it's a bad idea. Nico adds that eventually that force has to be let out somehow. Foreshadowing. Nico doesn't like the messages he got from Wave Circle Temple in Ragat. Apparently, Dedicate Huath likes making machines that can turn one magic into another.
Coincidence? I think not!
Sandry has been having nightmares about the hidden room in the darkness. It startles her awake, and as the kids have breakfast, Lark and Rosedorn tell them they can have the day to themselves. So they take Little Bear and head down to the shore and chase the dog into a cave when a massive earthquake strikes, trapping them. Sandry begins freaking out in the dark, but is talked down by the others. They each utilize their magics to help weave a protective cage around them. Briar taps into the roots around him, Deja taps into the metal ore and melts it with her magic to create metal wire. Triss moves the rock itself to let in air. As they each work their magic, they're able to hear each other in their minds. But Triss senses another quake. This one wound up with magic somehow. Sandry weaves the four of them together in a magic circle thread to strengthen their magic as they each work to grow, smelt, and move the very rock around them to keep them safe. The quake strikes, bringing with it immense power as it shakes everything around them, but they're safe. They survive and they're eventually found by their teachers and Moonstream coming to their rescue. After days of recovery, the adults tell the kids what happened, how Wave Circle Temple tried to trap an earthquake, which only imbued it with magic, making it stronger. It broke free, spreading in every direction. Emelon wasn't even supposed to feel the quake, let alone take such a devastating blow. When the kids ask if Dedicate Huath will get in trouble, they learn he's dead, along with everyone at Winding Circle Temple. Such is the price of playing with the forces of nature. The kids continue to talk mind to mind, a result of Sandry spinning them together. They don't tell the adults that part just yet, though. When they're sent home from the infirmary, Lark and Rosethorn aren't there, busy helping clean up the damage from the quake. They set about cleaning Discipline, Rosethorn's shed, and Lark's workroom. Triss offers to teach Briar how to read, and he agrees, offering to teach her how to fight. Triss, Briar, and Deja work together to imbue a crystal with light for Sandry, so she doesn't have to be so scared of the dark. And their magical journey is just beginning, as they have many adventures to come in the future. After all, magic is never simple. Sandry and the kids are always such endearing characters. They're so mature, a result of trauma making them grow up faster, and yet they're still children. They're all from different classes, which lends itself well to conflict and character development for all four. I like that they didn't have to face any human threats other than some bullies and some roughed up nobles. The earthquake was the biggest threat, and that was entirely out of their control. That's all I have to say though. Please let me know your thoughts on this book, this series, or any of Tamara Pierce's works in the comments. Also, why not give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already? I'll catch you in the next one when I recap Triss's book. Bye!